This is Julio's Corner, my corner of the internet, where I talk about whatever is on my mind. I'll mostly talk about stuff I've watched, read, or listened to, but sometimes I may ramble on about the news, politics, or society at large. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, August 24th, 2025. And before we get to the main part of the show, I just want you to give me a moment. Feel free to, if you're a YouTube viewer, you can use the timestamps to skip ahead. For the audio listeners, I will put the timestamps in the show notes so you can manually skip ahead. I have a little rant. And the reason for that is that, I have to get something off my chest. So by all means, skip ahead. So I want you to look at the screen. For those of you who are audio listeners, I have a image of our grand leader, Donald Trump. He did a press conference this past Friday with a red hat. You know, he's pretty known for these red hats that say, "Make America Great Again." This time around, though, it says in the third person, Trump was right about everything. So here's my rant. I mean, this is our fucking leader. This fucking spray tan, cankle buffoon of a man, clown of a man, with a hat in the third person about himself, saying he's right about everything. This is our reality. Like, he out South Park. Like, South Park can't do a better job than this. Fucking this. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around this. It's already been, it's been more than a day, and I can't wrap my head around. I mean, he said he's already done a lot of stupid things, and always says that he's right about everything, and he lies about everything. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. We know this. He knows grass better than anybody. He knows science better than anybody. He knows whatever. But the fact that now he has to wear a hat, an effing hat, that says in the third person, not I was right about everything, Trump was right about everything. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, with all his flaws, with everything that's wrong about this man, the one thing that he was somewhat adept at was, I can't even say the word. I lost the word because I'm so flabbergasted by this scene before me. He was adept. He was always good about metrics, about he would always call, when he hired people, he always talked about, this person looks like he came from casting, right? Perception, image, PR. That was always the one thing that he was good about, which is why he lies about everything. He's a failure of a businessman. He's a failure of a real estate developer. He's a failure of an inheritor of wealth, because he blew it all away. And he was a failure of a president the first term, and he's a failure of a president now in his current term. But it's only been 7 months in, and people are just letting him do whatever he wants. All of that aside, he was always good at, showing up, putting up a presentation that looked somewhat, at least in for his ego and his demographic, it was a good show of face. That scene right here, Trump was right about everything. Like, who does that appeal to? There's nothing. And with the World Cup trophy next to him, no less. I mean, he has the guy from FIFA over there. And the reason why I'm just showing a screenshot instead of playing the video, because I don't have a full, it doesn't matter. This was a press conference where he's talking about how he's using the military to keep crime down in D.C., which of course is a flat out lie. Crime has been at an all-time record low for 26 years in D.C. And in that press conference, he's talking about, because he had such success and the restaurants are booming. When of course the reality is people have stopped going to restaurants because of the military roaming about DC. But because of in his his lie, the success of it, he now wants to implement this army, this militarization tactic in Chicago and of course New York, where I live, because it worked so well in LA and DC, and now he wants to do Chicago and New York. And coincidentally, these are all cities with a black mayor. First was LA, you had Mayor Vance. You have DC, another female black mayor. And then Chicago and New York both have male black mayors. So it's ridiculous, it's racist, and whatever. But that's not the main point of my rant. My rant is like this image in front of me, this fucking image, is such a dichotomy of comical, absurdly ridiculous, comical buffoonery pressed against sadistic, hateful cruelty. Like that dichotomy is just, it's everything. It's everything and nothing at the same time. It's baffling. It's insane. And this is the reality we live in. Like how to and in that press conference, like I said, you had the director of FIFA there, and a bunch of other people, of JD Vance was there, and other leaders are groveling at his feet and like, yes sir, master sir, and all this nonsense, and he looks like a jackass up there with a hat saying he was right about everything. And then there was another video I saw, I guess later in that day, where he's in the hallways somewhere. I'm guessing it's the White House because that's where he is, and he was talking to another reporter, talking about how he's going to do a ride along with the police and the army too, because now he's the head of crime, of the police, and I forget how he worded it, but of course that's not what he is. But now he thinks he is. It's just he's so stupid, and yet at the same time he's the most powerful man in the world. Like, how do we have this guy in charge? Like, how did we get here? And I mean, I know how we got here, but at the same time, it's like, how did we get here? Like, it's just so exasperating. It's exasperating. It's just, I have no words, and yet no one is doing anything about it. There was some report somewhere, I guess in the right-wing circles, I think, what's his name? Alex Ross or Alex Jones, that's his name, and some others are talking about some circulation. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. But basically something about his health not being great. And so I guess that's a silver lining. I'll go no further than that. Just that he needs to be stopped. He needs to be impeached or something, because it just, how do we, this is the modern day Emperor's New Clothes. That stupid childhood fairy tale about the emperor walking around in nude, and everyone sees he's naked. His sycophants keep telling him, "Oh, that's the most amazing new robe that you're wearing," because he got conned by a con man saying that he's the best designer. He designed something, and it was obviously not. He didn't give him anything. He just had him roam around his domain in the nude. Hence, Emperor's New Clothes. But everyone's like, regardless, they still stroked his ego, like, yeah, you look amazing. And I think only the children were the ones who were being honest, because children are like that. They're like, Mom, why is he walking around naked? And they're like, shh, no, 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 he's not. He's don't mind it. He's not naked. He's wearing something. Just let him be. Here we are with that. That's what we're dealing with. He was right about everything. When it's the opposite. Restaurants are in DC are losing business. All the tourist places of this country are losing business. There is no crime that he's protecting us from. Inflation is happening. Unemployment is on the rise. We're having stagflation, and yeah, that's where we're at. So I don't know why he wants to pretend any different. So okay, I needed to get that off my chest. So, anyways, we're gonna move on with the show. All right, we're back. So, after watching Wednesday and doing the episode that I did, it dawned on me that, oh right, Tim Burton and Jenna Ortega did something else together. They did the movie Beetlejuice. So I decided, well, let me watch that. I haven't seen it yet. And on top of that, obviously there's the original Beetlejuice. So I figured, well, let me watch both films because it's been ages since I saw the original, which came out in 1988, and compare it to the new one, the sequel, 2024, and see how well it the storyline carries on from the last one, and how well it's the continuity is how it's going on with the continuity. So let's start with the first one. So before I go into the breakdown, I just want to tell you what I gathered from watching both. Both movies, Tim Burton films, they both have great visuals, and the plot is very loosey goosey, as Tim Burton films tend to be. But yeah, they do pair out. They do pair out nicely together. There is continuity from the first to the second, and it works well as canon. And the one thing that I found a little odd was Lydia, the character played by Winona Ryder. She was more beaten down in the second film. In the first one, she was a little more spirited. But again, in the first one, she was, playing an angry teenager, who was resentful of her stepmother, who was like trying to ruin everything for her or whatever, the way she saw it. And she was gothic, and she could see ghosts. That was one of the things about her, that was because she was a weird character. But in the sequel, she used her ability to see ghosts to make money as a TV psychic for the stars sort of thing. But she was a more weak-spirited person. She was very like neurotic and beaten down, and always like, woe is me kind of persona. But I guess, so that was the inconsistency between the first one and the second one in terms of her character. But life can do that to you. So I let that. I suspended my belief with that, just because it can happen. People can change, and depending on the type of trauma that they've experienced, it could affect them in that manner. And they kind of do explain that a little bit. Like, for instance, Jenna Ortega plays her daughter. Well, you know what? Let's start it from the beginning. So in the first movie, the main plot was that Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, they were this lovely couple that died in the very beginning of the movie, unexpectedly. And so they came back as ghosts, and they didn't realize that they were ghosts at the moment that they became ghosts. But they realized that people were moving into their house, and that freaked them out to no end. And then they realized there was this book that came out of nowhere called The Guide for the Recently Deceased, which they didn't really study too much. And so the main plot of that movie is that they're trying to get rid of that family, and in that the Dietzes. So you had what are the name of the actors? So you had Charles Dietz, played by Jeffrey Jones, Delia Dietz, played by Catherine O'Hara, and Lydia Dietz, played by Winona Ryder. And of course, Delia had an artist friend. Really, he was just a con man who pretended he knew everything, but he didn't. He just wanted to be appear like cool in this avant-garde kind of way. His name was Otto, played by Glenn Shadix. So Adam Baldwin, also known as Alec Baldwin, known as Adam, Maitland and Barbara Maitland, they were trying to scare him away, but no one saw them except for Lydia, because she's this gothic person. I guess that was her rebellious stage. And the reason why they bought their house, obviously they died, so they no longer had ownership. So their house sold off to this family. Charles Dietz was a real estate developer. Ironic, since I was talking about Trump earlier. Who I guess had a nervous breakdown. So he wanted to move to a much more quieter town. So this town that the movie is set in is in like Vermont or something, and it's supposed to be this quieter place. So he that's why he moved over there. His wife, Delia, the stepmother of Lydia, isn't too crazy about that, because she feels like she should be. I think they were in New York, because she was talking about being in art galleries and things like that, and that for me automatically makes me think of New York. So, but it could have been some other cosmopolitan town, city, where she was able to exhibit her artist. It could have been L.A. for all we know, but I think it was New York actually. I think they do mention New York actually in the movie. I'm just the details are escaping me. So, anyways, that's why she brought Otto to help them redecorate the house. And of course, getting rid of the things that the ghosts, Adam and Barbara, held dear, really unnerved them. Even though they're ghosts, they're dead now. And especially in the attic is where he had like this little model of the town that they lived in. He wanted that to be left alone. So they try to go into the underworld to get advice. But the advice is basically read your guide and just learn to scare them. Work with what you know, and what they know isn't really working. And somehow Beetlejuice, who they're warned against using, because he used to work for their caseworker in the underworld, and he was a bit of a rogue agent, so to speak, because he would, I guess, kill humans, which I guess they frown upon, because you're not really supposed to interact with the living, because you're dead now. So you shouldn't interact with them in a way that would harm them. So, but Adam and Barbara, they want to live in their house in peace, and they can't with this family completely rearranging and destroying everything and making it their own, that it doesn't resemble what they had before. So they first get Beetlejuice involved, and then they realize, he's a little too much of a loose cannon for our what we want to be done. So that they try to get rid of him. So then he tries to use Lydia to get himself back in, and somehow, and this is how the plot gets all loosey goosey. Oh, right. Otto, because of their first attempt, this actually made the Dietzes more inclined to engage with the ghosts. They were trying to scare them away, and instead they made them more interested and piqued by the strangeness of their house being haunted, because maybe it can actually be a selling point. They can get tourist attractions, buy out the town, because again he was a real estate developer, and he was now his real estate developing brain started being invigorated by this idea. And so Otto pretended that he knew how to call them up, and he did happen to find their book. So he was reading it up on it to try to revive them. And in doing so, he was actually killing them off because he did something wrong or whatever, or the book didn't accurately whatever he learned wasn't done accurately. So, in order to save them, Lydia made a deal with Beetlejuice, and the deal was, "I'll marry you," because Beetlejuice needs to get married to her so he can escape the underworld, the land of the dead, and be alive again, and of course, not be banished anymore. And so, in turn, he would save Adam and Barbara, and he does. He saves them. He kills off some of the people that were there. They don't really go further than that. They just got shot out of the building, out of the house, and that's the end of them. Otto managed to run away, but in the end, they were able to say his name, because in order to call him up, you have to say his name 3 times. And so they finally were able to banish him again. And that's pretty much how it ends. So they got rid of Beetlejuice, and Adam and Barbara decided to coexist with the Deeses. The Deeses know, that they live here, and they won't bother. They won't change the house up too much, and they'll coexist. And of course, Lydia likes to be possessed to sing songs by what's his face, Harry Belafonte. I think it's Harry Belafonte. The Day Song. So that's the first one. The second film plot is a little different. It's even more looser. But we're in the future now. Lydia was married at one point, had Enid. Oh, interesting. Astrid. I'm thinking of Wednesday. I was wondering, oh wow, did she name herself the name of her friend? But anyway, never mind. Astrid was her name. And Beetlejuice. It's funny because the first movie is just Beetlejuice. Second one is saying the name twice, because if you say it 3 times, he comes out, which I think is going to be the third one. But anyways, in Beetlejuice, the sequel, came out in 2024. We have Lydia, became an adult, got married, had Astrid. They separated from her husband, I guess. They broke up for whatever reason. And Astrid is a little resentful about that because she couldn't really be with her father as much, because she's a what do you call it when you're father's daughter or whatever. Anyways, he liked to travel, so he then went to Brazil, and he subsequently died there, and they can never find his body. So because of that, and she resents Lydia because she misses her father, and Lydia's able to see the dead, but for some reason she can't see her father, her husband. So that's the point of contention between the two. Catherine O'Hara, who played what's her name, Delia Dietz, she's still around. She's still an artist. I guess she's back in New York. They're not living in that little town in Rant anymore, even though they still own the house. So she's still doing her sculpture thing, but now she's doing she's mixing live performance with her art now. Lydia is doing a TV show, as I mentioned, where she talks to ghosts of her guests and whatnot, their haunted houses, to try to resolve their situation. Her producer, Rory, is her new boyfriend that's trying to get married, because he wants the money that they're making from this show. And so the plot is that the father, Charles Dietz, he died from a shark attack because his plane crashed into the ocean, and he survived the plane crash. But as he was trying to get to safety, a shark came in and ate him. So because of Charles's death, the family gets together, goes back to Vermont to do a funeral for him, and they Delay puts a shroud on the house to show that they're mourning, and apparently Beetlejuice is still haunting that house in the little model set of the town, and also Lydia feels like she keeps seeing Beetlejuice everywhere. Like he would just pop up in places unexpectedly, but it would end up being just an aberration. But apparently it isn't. Beetlejuice actually has been trying to get her attention in his mystical, magical way, which they never explain his abilities. So, anyways, he tries to get Jenna Ortega's attention by pushing out a flyer with his information, like in the first one, trying to get people to say his name. But Lydia immediately shuts that down, says, "Don't you ever say that name ever again." That causes more anger and contention, and so she bikes away. And in a callback to the first movie, because in the first movie, I didn't mention how Adam and Barbara died. They were driving. In town, they went to the town to get something from the hardware, and as they were driving back to the house, a dog came to the in front of their car, which caused them to veer out of control, and subsequently they died. So in this one, in this movie, they do a little callback to that because she's riding in town on a bike that she found, and as she's riding, she's looking around a little carelessly. And then when she looks back, something's in her, it's in her way. So she veers out of control, and it looks like, oh no, she might, she's in danger. She ends up crashing into a tree. And in this tree, there's a tree house, and on the tree house, there's this boy, this teenager, about her age. And so he sort of befriends her. And that starts becoming her place to escape the madness of her family, because she doesn't really get along with she doesn't get along with her mother, obviously, because she resents her, and Delia and her, they're not really that close either. The only what she called the only normal one was Charles, but he's dead. And somehow in all this, what's his face, Rory. Right, that's his name, Rory, by Justin Theroux. Yeah, Rory somehow, circumvents the whole funeral. What do you call it? It wasn't the funeral. It was the wake. He circumvents the wake to in front of everyone, that's there for the funeral. And for the wake, to basically pressure her to say yes to getting married. So she says, I guess. So she said, yes, we're going to get married in honor of Charles's Dietz's death. We're going to get married to celebrate his passing by this new beginning. And then he's like, you know what? We might as well just get married right away. So let's get married at midnight, which is on Halloween at midnight, which is like the very next day. So that makes Astrid even more resentful of Lydia. And so she starts hanging out more with that boy, who convinces her to hang out the night of the wedding. So they hang out, and they start getting romantic, and in kissing, all of a sudden they're floating. And so she realizes, holy crap, I've been kissing a ghost this whole time. So she also has the same ability as her mother, Lydia, not realizing that she did. And all this time she was a skeptic. She didn't believe that Lydia actually could see ghosts. So she thought her mother was just crazy, At the very at the very best, crazy. At the very worst, a con woman, just a a liar. But it turns out that yeah, your mom can see ghosts, and now so can you. And so the boy convinces her, like, hey, um, I would love for you. I can help you find your father. If he's dead, he's in the underworld. I can help you get him, find him. I would like to be alive again, and the only way for me to do that is if you marry me, which is basically similar to the Beetlejuice deal with Lydia in the first movie. So, anyways, um, at the funeral, Lydia is talking to the real estate agent of the town, the daughter of the woman of the woman who sold the house to her family in the first movie. And she was telling her, yeah, I can never sell that house at the place that Lydia dropped off Astrid because of the murder that happened there. So it turns out that that kid killed off his parents, and then he died when they tried to arrest him because he fell out of the treehouse. So that's why he's trapped in the. That's why he was in the treehouse, because he murdered his family. So he's actually a bad guy, and he doesn't want to marry her. What he wants to do is give up. He wants her to sacrifice her life in his place, so he can come back to the living, while her body is sent to the underworld in his place. So he's actually tricking her to do that. And so Lydia, upon realizing that that's a ghost, and realizes that there's something suspicious going on there, she tries to run over there to save her. By the time she gets there, it's too late. They've entered the underworld. So of course, who does she call? Beetlejuice, to once again help her. This time to save her daughter from being from the underworld, and this time Beetlejuice is like, you better marry me for real this time. So okay. Another thing I just forgot to mention, apparently, when Beetlejuice was alive, many centuries ago, in I guess Renaissance Italy time, he actually had married a woman before. Her name is Dolores. That's the only name they give. Played by Monica Bellucci. And she was part of a death cult, and she would always she married him and tried to kill him by poisoning him on their wedding night, because it was part of her cult performance to, I guess, get his soul or something for immortality or something. But before he died, he killed her with an axe and chopped her up. So, anyways, funny enough, they never mentioned this character in the first movie, but I guess they just invented her for the second one just to add another twist. So apparently now that she's this dead woman, she actually has the ability to steal the essence of ghosts. So she's killing off ghosts left and right by sucking out their. They don't have souls anymore, so whatever, their essence. So now more than ever, Beetlejuice wants to get married to escape the world of the dead, so that Dolores can't follow him and kill him. Kill her. No, kill him. Because that's the only thing she has in her mind, is like to get back at him, because he foiled her original plan. But now that we're both dead, might as well kill you for good or whatever. And there's this other character played by Willem Dafoe called Wolf Jackson. He's an actor, and apparently one of his most famous roles was he played a cop when he was alive. But now he's dead, but in the underworld he's still playing like a cop to monitor, to regulate the world of the dead and catch people that are infracting on their laws. That, like, again, are very loosey goosey, because they never really stick with the guidelines that they set in motion, like not interfering with the living so much. But apparently it keeps happening, because, like I mentioned, this kid is trying to trade in Astrid's life for his own, so he can come back to life. So apparently, there's more than one way to come back to the land of the living, not just by marriage. The marriage is another way, and yeah, it's just and then Dolores being able to suck the essence of other ghosts and kill ghosts like permanently. That's a different thing that never existed before. So so anyway, he's trying to capture both Dolores and Beetlejuice because Beetlejuice, is trying to break the rules again by marrying Lydia. Um, so Richard, Astrid's father, does notice Lydia, not Lydia. He notices Astrid in the underworld when they walk by his desk because apparently he's working in the land of the dead doing clerical work for the agency that we'll just call it immigration for the dead. I don't know exactly what his job is, but he was like stamping papers, documentations for the ghosts in front of him. It was like a DMV looking situation, but no one's driving. So anyways, it all culminates with what's going on. They're in the church. Well, no. Well, actually, first things first. Beetlejuice saves Astrid by killing off that ghost who tried to take her soul because he had her sign off the paperwork. They were sending her off to the soul train, and the Lydia grabbed her from the soul train, and they were on the run from the ghost police. And then of course that's when then they they reunited with Richard, her first husband / Astrid's father, and then they had a nice little reunion moment. Astrid obviously happy and delighted to see her father again. He's covered in piranhas because that's where he died, in Brazil, and they have piranhas in the Amazon River. They try to go to the last agency or whatever where that guy needs to get his I guess his ghost passport stamped so he can go back to the land of the living. And once he gets that stamp, it's too late. And it looks like that's what happens, that they get there right as his book is stamped. But surprise, that was Beetlejuice, and he didn't really stamp it. He just put like something else on it that said like "FU" or whatever. Then he pulls a lever, which opens the floor under him into lava or something. So he gets killed off, and that saves what's her face, Astrid. So one save done. They go back to the real world, and as they're in the real world, they find out that what's her name, Delia, accidentally kills herself because she was trying to do this weird post funeral ceremony by herself with these asps, these poisonous Egyptian snakes or whatever. But supposedly she thought she bought defanged asps, but it turns out that wasn't the case. They bit her, and so she died. So now she can go into the soul train with the beheaded husband Charles Dietz, who this whole, and I'm aiming at my for those who can't see in the audio feed, the audio version of the podcast, like the top part of from his chest up is missing because that's how the shark killed him. They ate the top part of his sternum, torso, whatever. So there's that. So they go off in the soul train. They go back to Lydia and Astrid go back to the real world and at the cemetery. They come out of a mausoleum and now they're in the cemetery. And then they go as they walk into the church, Worry's like, "Hey, where you been? You almost missed the marriage." So as he's about to marry or try to marry Lydia, Beetlejuice pops up like, we have an agreement. You're actually going to marry me. and he scares off Rory. Oh, actually, as that's happening, Dolores pops up, and Beetlejuice is trying to convince Dolores to, hey, I'm a dead guy, but hey, this is a living guy. You can go after him, and whatever. And as that's happening, what's her name? Astrid gets the recently deceased book from Delia, the newly because before she goes to the Soul Train, she's still involved. So she has her own copy of the recently deceased guidebook. She looks at it and uses that to open up a door to the underworld. But apparently, when she does it, it went straight to the the dimension where the sandworms are, which is apparently one of the moons of Saturn. That's where I forget if that was described in the first movie. It might have been in the first movie where they first said that, but definitely they do it in this one. And so, out of the moons of Saturn comes out the sandworm and kills off both Dolores and Rory. So they're out the way, and now Beetlejuice is trying to marry. Well, actually, no, because as he's about to try to do that, Lydia's like, Lydia's Winona Ryder. Astrid, Jenna Ortega is like, well, actually, according to the guide of the recently deceased, your contract is null and void because you forced her, into that arrangement. So that can't be properly accepted because it's it was forced upon her. It wasn't consensual and whatever. So that's the end of that. I think they say his name 3 times. They say his name 3 times and he blows up, which is a new one. That didn't happen the last time they said his name. He would just disappear. So yeah, that's how that movie ends. The second one. So, like the first one, it was weird. There was a basic plot, and then they played loose with the rules that they created of the world, and the way the movie ends actually. And if I didn't say spoiler alert already, spoiler alert, because if you haven't seen Beetlejuice, or the first one, which I mean, come on, that came out in '88. Where have you been? So spoiler alert. The movie ends with sort of a cliffhanger where Lydia decides to quit her job and spend more time with her daughter. Her daughter then gets married. They fast forward to the daughter's having a kid, but out comes baby Beetlejuice, which is carnivorous and starts like biting and killing everyone. She wakes up from that dream, and Beetlejuice is by her in the bed, like, oh, looks like you had a close one. And then she wakes up from that. So it's like, huh, what's going on? So that's how it ends. It ends with, obviously, Beetlejuice is still around, and we'll see if they finished and succeed in getting the proper whatever funding for the third one, and get the proper approval to come out, to be released. We'll see how that turns out. So that's Beetlejuice marathon that I had, and that's all I have to say about that. If you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have questions, comments, or any thoughts you'd like to share, you can reach me by clicking on the Contact Me link in the show notes. If you're feeling generous, of course, you can send money my way via the donate link in the show notes. And of course, this show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. This means you can share this episode, remix it, do whatever you want. Just say where you got it from. And as always, thank you for listening.